Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. As you saw the unbox, today I'm reviewing the AMD A520 Ryzen AM4 Micro ATX gaming motherboard. Before I start talking about this motherboard, previously I owned a Gigabyte DS3H motherboard and it was a great motherboard. I even have an unboxing and review on that one. And many people in the past they told me that motherboard won't last more than a year. And I didn't believe them until recently that motherboard died. And even it has 2 more years of warranty, but the company asks you to cover the shipping and they don't guarantee that it is going to get fixed. So therefore I decided to move on with a different company that has a better customer service and better motherboards. So I decided to switch from Gigabyte to Asus. And I can see that Asus has way more advantages and capabilities than the Gigabyte motherboard that I own. And let's move on and see what are the advantages of this motherboard. First of all, one of the things that I really liked about this motherboard, it is that it's ready for Ryzen 5000 series, 4000 series and 3000 series. Currently I'm using a Ryzen 3200G with this one, and also for the graphic card I'm using a 3060 Ti Ultra by EVGA. That's why once you're getting this motherboard, if later on you want to upgrade your CPU to a 4000 series or a 5000 series, and then you are able to do it and you don't have to change your motherboard. Another thing that I really liked about this motherboard is that once I switched from Gigabyte to this one, many people say that once you switch your motherboard, then you have to reinstall your operating system, which is Windows, Linux, or anything else. But this motherboard was capable of downloading its own driver through Windows, and I did not have to install Windows again. So that saved me a lot of time, and the motherboard worked perfectly right out of the box. Also, another thing that this motherboard has, whereas other motherboards don't have, it's that it has a large VRM heatsink and PCH heatsink. And we can see that how large the heatsink it is, and it keeps the motherboard temperature really cool, and you don't have to worry about damaging any of the capacitors on the motherboard. The motherboard has also onboard RGB headers and also some RGB LED stripes on it. As you can see right here, it has RGB LED stripes, but since I'm using an 3060 Ultra by EVGA, I really can't see the RGB. But for people who don't have a graphic card, or their graphic card is a little bit smaller, then they can see the RGB effect on the motherboard itself. But other than that, the RGB header that comes with it is the Aura Sense by ASUS, which you can sense most of your RGBs, your fans, your stripes to it, and then customize your lighting effects, which is really good. Another thing that I really liked about this motherboard is that it comes with the onboard Wi-Fi, which is really good. Previously, with the Gigabyte, where I didn't have an onboard Wi-Fi, first I got a USB TP-Link Wi-Fi, the small one, which I have an unboxing of that too, but it did not work good. It worked good for a couple of days, but after a couple of days, the USB adapter gets hot, and then it will stop working, or the speed will be really slow. So I switched to a TP-Link where you connect a USB and you put the antennas on your desk, but even that one, the speed was not that great, and I didn't have an option of installing an PCIe Wi-Fi adapter before I use a PCIe Wi-Fi adapter, but I couldn't do that because my graphic card was too large, and simply a Wi-Fi adapter couldn't fit in the motherboard. And same here, that's another problem in this motherboard. We can see that the PCIe 4 is on the second row, but so on the top of the graphic card you can connect the PCIe Wi-Fi adapter. However, the Wi-Fi adapter will stick to your GPU, and then your GPU is too hot, damaging the Wi-Fi adapter. So that's not a great option on this one. But the option that this one has, it has an onboard Wi-Fi, so you don't have to worry about any of those. You just plug in the antenna, put it on your desk, and you get a reliable Wi-Fi speed. The Wi-Fi speed that I'm getting with this one is a little bit less than like 20 to 30 megabyte per second less than an PCIe Wi-Fi adapter, but it's usable and I'm fine with it. Let's move on. We also have a BIOS flashback button on this motherboard, so if anything happens and we can get a display output, we can just flush the BIOS and install a new BIOS on it, and we don't have any problem. We can see the motherboard has two USB 3.2 generation 1. We have a display port, we have a D-sub, and we have HDMI on this motherboard. We have two USB 2 and the Wi-Fi antennas. We have a Realtek 1GB LAN and two USB 3.2 Gen 1. We have three audio jacks for your speaker and microphone, and we have one PCIe 3 which is a 16 slot. And other things that we have on this motherboard is we have three front USB 2.0 4 SATA 6GB per second, And we have the AMD A520 chipset. We have 32GB per second M2 support, which I'm currently using it. I have an M2 and a hard drive 2TB and an SSD connecting through the SATA. And what else we have is DDR4 support, and it also supports dual channel. As you can see, gray black. That means it's a dual channel. So if you have a dual channel memory, you connect it on the same color. You don't connect one of your memory on the black slot and the other one on the gray slot. You connect both of them either on gray or both of them either on black. And if you have 4, you just connect them right next to each other. And we can see the RGB headers. We have 2 Aura addressable Gen 2 headers and 2 Aura RGB headers on the top. And we can see we have TUF capacitors on this motherboard, meaning that you can push the motherboard to its limit, and up to 20% greater temperature doesn't do anything to the motherboard, and you get 5 times more lifespan according to ASUS. That's about it. Another thing that I really liked about this motherboard is that it comes with the application where you can control everything, including the CPU fan, through this motherboard, and that's a great option that ASUS is giving. But the only thing that I don't like is that they didn't include a GPU in this app, so you cannot control your GPU. Then for your GPU, for instance, I have EVGA, I have to go through EVGA app and control it through there. If they included an GPU in here too, at least an NVIDIA GPU, because an AMD GPU has an AMD Ryzen software, at least if they include an NVIDIA GPU in here, it would be great. But you can see right here, I can see the frequency, I can change the lighting, and I can choose the fan speed. And then we go to temperature, we can see the CPU temperature, the motherboard temperature, the CPU pack temperature, but we can see the GPU temperature, which is 66 degree, and we can see the hotspot, which is 77 degree for me, a little bit too hot. We can control the fan, the CPU fan, the other fan, and we can see the core voltage. If you like this video, definitely go ahead and give us a like, and if you have any question, feel free to comment below. Other than this, thank you so much for watching this video and have a great day.